So in today's video, guys, let's talk about how you can actually deploy AI agents and view them in a very intuitive way, in a very visual way that makes it easy for you to keep track of everything and actually what's going on with your automations every time they error, what kind of tools they're using, if they're active right now, working right now, if they're idle, stale, inactive, whatever it may be, broken, and all that. Because the thing with agentic workflows, say if you build them on Claude Code or Codex, you can easily build them, but you're not entirely sure what's going on with those automations unless you check in with Claude Code or Codex, right? So say you build an automation here inside Claude Code and you tell it, I want this done every single day at this time or whatever. Say it's to post on LinkedIn or do some outreach via cold email or via IG, Twitter, whatever it may be, whatever kind of automation you're building. If you don't have anything visual, anything that gives you information, a report or something, you're just going to rely that Claude Code is going to get it done. And for you to actually know whether it got it done or not, you have to ask Claude Code, which is going to cost you tokens and usage. And a lot of the times it may fail silently without you knowing what's going on. You know, you may be relying on it to get the job done, and then the next day you check in on it, wasting tokens, and then you realize that it never ran in the first place. Claude Code tells you, hey, the automation is broken, it broke silently and I wasn't able to fix it, but now that you're here, let's fix it together. So you just wasted an entire day. So the first thing you can do is you're going to use Claude Code as the builder to build everything, to build all the scripts, agents, automations, everything. But then you want to run it on a VPS to actually host your automations, because then the automations can run 24/7 via cron. And they don't have to be dependent on your Mac being on for these automations to run. So you build them on Claude Code, on your subscription that you're using, and then you connect them to your VPS. So for me, I'm simply using Hostinger. So you can go to hostinger.com and you can sign up to any of their plans. I use KVM too. So everything here, I can see exactly what's going on with with my CPU usage, my memory usage, disk usage, everything that's happening, and everything is hosted in my VPS. So all my automations, all my cron jobs, everything that is operating 24/7 lives inside of my VPS, right? So I don't have to be dependent on my Mac being on. I just build the automations inside Claude Code and it SSHs into my VPS. And then from there on, all my automations live here. But this is not good enough either. I still want to know what's going on, when they silently fail or what's happening with them. So I had Claude Code build me this little dashboard, and I call it Jarvis. It doesn't really operate like Jarvis, but that's just the name that I gave it based on the Iron Man movies. And this allows me to see all of my automations, all 39 automations. And if I look at the framework, they're all running via cron, and the host is VPS. So I can see which ones are idle, which ones are live right now working, which ones are stale, which ones are getting errors. And if they are getting errors, I can just fix it here, or I can trigger them manually, which tools they're using, Playwright, Claude Haiku 4.5 for the weekly refresh on LinkedIn. And all the information is here. And yeah, it's just very intuitive and very easy to see. So this is one way you can do it. Just talk to Claude Code and ask it to build you something like this. Tell it I want a live dashboard where I gain full clarity of all my automations and I know exactly what they're doing, exactly how they're running, exactly what's going on. And tell it to live sync the data all the time, dynamically change it, make sure the data and information, all the numbers are accurate. Because if you don't tell it that, it might give you something like this, but the automation and the information that you get from these automation cards may not be accurate. So you might not be able to trust the information. So tell Claude Code that too, to actually output the correct information when you're building these automation cards. So this is one very good way of doing it. You build it on the VPS. You build it first on Claude Code, then you sync it to your VPS. So all automations live inside your VPS via cron. And then you build something like this that allows you to see exactly what's going on. And you can even click them, get even more information, see exactly where the scripts live, the status of them. You can trigger them there, right then and there. You can see the logs, see exactly what's going on behind the scenes, activity and all that. So this is one way of doing it. A second way of doing it is doing it via Telegram. So you can create a bot via Telegram And every time something happens to your automations, every time they trigger, every time they fail silently, every time they're stale, or they do an action behind the scenes, or something, whatever it does, you can get notified via Telegram. So the way you would do this is search up bot fodder. So you're going to want to create a new bot, and I did that right there. All you do is type in new bot, and then you want to name it something, say Claude Agent. And now let's do a username. So Claude Coding Agent Max Bot, something like that. It has to end in bot. And then once you're done, you're gonna copy this little API token here. And I'm not going to use this bot, so it doesn't matter. You can steal it if you want. You paste that, you copy it, you paste it into Claude Code. And then it's going to need a chat ID too. So you go to this little bot here, user info, just search it up there. Click on bot, choose the selected bot there. And then it's going to give you a little ID there, a chat ID. Okay. And then with that chat ID and with the API key, it's going to be able to create a new Telegram chat and actually sync with your Telegram. So all you do then, click on this little button, you open up the chat, say, hey, right? It's probably not going to say anything because it's not connected to anything. But now you have your agent set up. So you can tell Claude Code, hey, using that API key that I gave you and the chat ID, I just set up a new Telegram chat and I want you to give me updates about all my operations and automations and scripts and everything that I'm doing behind the scenes. So every time something happens behind the scenes, I want to be updated via Telegram, right? And you can even connect it to an LLM if you want to, or even Claude Code, and then you can chat with it if that's something you want. But this at least gives you an interface, something where you know exactly what's going on, so you don't have to guess. So you get updates all the time. You can even connect this via email if you want, so you get all the updates there. But I think Telegram is a little bit more intuitive because your inbox may get super spammed by all kinds of senders, and this is more organized in my opinion. So this is another way of doing it. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that. Let's block it too, who cares? A third way of doing it is via N8N. N8N, in my opinion, a lot of people tell you that N8N is dead, and you don't need N8N these days because it's outdated. We have agentic workflows, we have something like Claude Code and Codex and blah, blah, blah. So you don't need to use N8N at all. But the benefit of N8N is that it is super reliable. And you can still use N8N in an agentic way. So agentic workflows do not necessarily just mean creating the workflows via Claude Code and having them run via Claude Code or Codex, but it means using the power that agentic workflows have and then hosting them somewhere where you can visually see what's going on with your workflows and you have something very reliable that displays the correct information all the time. So the thing about N8N, again, it's super reliable. You can see all your executions here, exactly what's going on, if something fails, if something succeeds, and you can trust this information. You can trust that it's 100% accurate. You have all your workflows here, and you can even give, full access to N8N, to Claude Code for your N8N workflows. So it can actually build the workflows for you, modify them for you. And the way you would do that, just go to your settings, click on N8N API, create an API. You have all the scopes here. I think they're all already pre-selected. Click on your desired expiration. For me, I just do it at no expiration because I don't want to have to give it new API keys all the time. So do whatever you want. I just select no expiration, label it, go ahead and save, paste that into Claude Code, and then you want to go to instance level MCP, go to connected clients, click on connection details, access token, and you provide it with all the information you have here, the server URL, the access token, and the configuration JSON. So you can paste this access token into this little spot here, this little placeholder, or you can just give everything to Claude Code and give it the information that it needs. But it's gonna understand what it needs to do by just seeing your access token here and you actually giving it the access token. So it's gonna understand that it needs to paste this access token into the placeholder here. Then it's going to be able to get full access over all your workflows. It's going to be able to modify workflows, create workflows, fix errors, bugs, and all that. And now you have the agentic power of Claude Code and Codex, but the reliability and honesty and data accuracy of N8N. And this is why this is so powerful. So you should use Claude Code to build, but when it comes to the visual, you need something like this, something where you can see automation cards and everything that's going on, or Telegram where you get live updates all the time, or again, the best option of all in my opinion, N8N. Because then you can see exactly how the automations are built up, exactly what part of the automation fails. Because even with something like this, even when it says fail and then you need to fix it, you don't know what failed. You don't know which part of that automation failed. Maybe it was a specific API. Maybe it was how it parses data. You don't know that, right? So you're just going to tell Claude Code, hey, fix this thing, but you're not fixing the root cause of the issue because the same thing fails all the time. And it's easy to miss when you speak to Claude Code and have it make these changes. But when you're using N8N, if you go to a workflow, say you go to this one and you go to executions, okay, there's nothing there. Let me try to find another one. Inquiry to lead. I don't think I have any executions because this is my VPS. I haven't really used it too much on my VPS. But then you'll see all your executions here. You'll be able to go to that specific execution, see which node failed. You'll be able to see, okay, this node failed or this node failed, and you'll be able to double tap that and actually see what's going on. Okay, this happened in this specific workflow or this specific node. The API call didn't work, or I have to reconnect my Google node, or whatever it may be. So you have the reliability, you have the full honesty of N8N, and you know exactly what's going on. And combining that with something like Claude Code, now you have the power of agentic workflows and agentic AI. And again, you have the reliability of N8N. You know exactly what's happening to your workflows, when it fails, how the workflow is actually built up, and so on and so forth. So these are 3 ways of doing it, and pick whatever one you want, whatever one is most intuitive to you. If you don't have a lot of experience with N8N, if you haven't used N8N in the past, pre-agentic era, then this may be a little bit too overwhelming for you to get into right now. It's a little bit too much to learn and get a grasp on, and you're probably not going to understand most of these nodes. So if I click on this little workflow here, you're not going to understand any of these things. Like, what is a wait node? How do I configure this? What is this trigger node? How do I configure this in the best way, right? You're not going to understand any of these. The AI agent node, how do I configure the system message, the user message? How do I connect the right tools? How do I authenticate in the right way? So for you, I would recommend something like this. Just have Claude Code build a visual custom dashboard for you where you have everything here. So I have my checklist here, all my tasks that I can get done, even my AI news. So every single day it fetches news automatically. And if I look into the automation, I can see that it uses DuckDuckGo to actually fetch the news. It uses Claude Haiku 4.5 to process everything and to actually run the automation. And then SQLite to store everything in a database, right? That's what it does. I can trigger it manually right now if I want to, but I don't need to do that. It fetched the news 13 hours ago. I can see exactly what's going on here, and I can even open up the news here. But the point of this is that I have everything in front of me. So every time something errors, I know exactly what happens. Every time something succeeds, I know exactly what happens. Scanned AI news in the last 30 minutes and stored fresh stories for the dashboard. It's not always going to be 1000% accurate, which is why I prefer N8N. But again, if you don't have the experience in N8N, that may not be the option for you because you're going to have to relearn a tool from scratch. It's probably going to take you a few weeks of a lot of focus to be able to understand N8N. But you're not going to have to learn it as intensely as people pre-agentic era had to learn it, because then you actually have to build manually. Now Claude Code is just going to do that for you. But still, to understand N8N, you still got to learn it a little bit. So this is probably the best option for you instead of asking Claude Code what's going on, because that's just going to cost you tokens and usage, and you don't want that. But yeah, that's basically how you can deploy your agents, how you can actually see them working live and see what's going on, when they're running, when they're not running, when they're failing silently, and different options you can use for that. There's even something called Modal. I haven't used it too much, but essentially you just log in. I'm going to go ahead and log in with Google. I think I've used it in the past, so I should have an account. Just authenticate with your Google account. And then what you want to do once you're inside, well, there you go. I have some automations running here. No, it doesn't seem like it. I used to have them, but I just decided to delete them because I'm not using this. But what you want to do is, I think, go to settings, API tokens here, click on that. And what you're going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and delete these because you just saw my tokens. But what you want to go ahead and do is, after I delete this, I'm going to show you. Delete, click on new token, label it, create it, then paste that into Claude Code and tell Claude Code to deploy all of your agents onto Modal. So that's another way of doing it. Then you're going to have a clean dashboard. You're going to see exactly how they're running and when they're failing silently. You get $30 of free credits, I believe, just right off the bat before you have to upgrade. And I think it takes quite a long time to use up these credits. So this might actually be the best option for you, like for people who are like complete beginners, because then you see everything here. You see exactly what's going on, when they're running and all that, and you can trust that the information is accurate. The downside of something like this is the information is not always going to be 100% live synced and accurate with Cloud Code, which is a bummer. But when you're connected with something like this or N8N, you have 100% truthful data and you know exactly what's going on. So yeah, 4 ways of doing this. If you have any questions about how you can set this up that I didn't go over today, any confusion, anything that you want a little bit more clarity around, please type it in the comments below. I'm happy to help out. Either reach out to me in the comments or reach out to me in my free school community. Link is in the description, and I'll be able to look into that together with you guys and see how I can help you. But yeah, this is very crucial that you do something like this, because if you don't have a visual interface of your automations, you're not going to know what they're doing. And you're going to be guessing. You're going to have to waste tokens and waste usage to get an answer from Cloud Code of what's going on. And you're just going to have a bunch of verbose, a bunch of unnecessary amounts of output that you have to read through and understand to know what's going on. And that's not a good way of keeping track of your automations and your agents. So either build your own custom dashboard, either run them via Modo or N8N or Telegram, but make sure either way you sign up to a VPS. You need a VPS, okay? Because a VPS is your own virtual private server. It's very secure, and you can run it 24/7. Because if you run it via Cloud Code alone, via your Mac, then again you're going to be dependent on the computer being on. So you don't want that. You want to make sure that you have a VPS and you can run your automations 24/7, anytime that you want, anytime that you're not in front of the computer. So that's the best way of doing that. So yeah, I hope this helped you guys a lot. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And as always, I'll see you next time. Cheers.